Hey guys, what is going on? AJ's back again for another video. Happy Friday, the last Friday of April. How have you guys been? Just a quick plug before we start the video. I just want to let you guys know that I have started up a podcast series with a few friends of mine called the NXP Podcast. The debut episode is up on YouTube right now. Me, the Path of Geofreed, and XAM1000 he are discussing everything about the upcoming Amazing SpiderMan film, so I'd appreciate it greatly if you check out the episode. It's our debut episode, so we're kind of trying to work out the kinks. We're trying to get a style going on how we're going to do it, so if you guys would leave your feedback, both positive and negative, that'd be greatly appreciated because we want to try and start this series up. We already have a few ideas for the next couple episodes, and we might get some other collaborators to come and join us on several episodes. So if you want, you can submit your ideas that what you think we should talk about, but I'll reveal the full details later on once we get the second episode up, which we should be recording within the next 2 or so weeks. But anyway, what I want to talk to you guys about today is two upcoming video games, two video games in particular. The first one being PlayStation AllStars Battle Royale. Yes, if you've been following all of the rumors for, frankly, the past year or so, this thing has been, leaked out, character designs, Sony sending out for a developer, somebody who's competent when it comes to smash 'em up, beat 'em up type games. So this was definitely something that wasn't trying to be kept hidden, because there were thoughts that it was going to be rumored at the VGAs and revealed there. But yeah, I just gotta say, if there's anything Sony needs to fix, they need to fix their goddamn security on all of these releases, because I'm sorry, but it's awesome we're getting to see another game, but the fact that it was leaked out a full year before, I mean, just come on now, keep this shit up for E3, because I want to have an E3 where I'm actually surprised by a lot of things. Yeah, anyway, so that was my mini rant on Sony. PlayStation All-Stars Battle Royale. Essentially what it is, it's a collab beat-em-up game with all of the Sony franchises. Think Super Smash Bros., but for Sony. And after looking at some of the screenshots and the gameplay, it was revealed on G4 TV. Probably the only reason anybody turned to G4 to watch it. That channel is pretty much irrelevant. I mean, honestly, I gotta say that it looks kind of cool. It definitely looks interesting. I know a lot of people like to say that, oh god, Sony can never be original. Look, they're copying something off of Nintendo. Nintendo makes, Sony takes. Oh wow, did I really expect anything else? Honestly, guys, well, yes, it is true Sony has not been original at all. Just throwing it out there. But in the case of this sort of game, a beat 'em up with Sony characters, Sony is not the first person to rip this off. If you have seen other games that have come out, then literally there are tons of beat 'em up games out there with groups of people from different video games. First being Jump Ultimate Stars, Battle Stadium DON, that's like the anime version of Smash. And you've also got Cartoon Network Punch Time Explosion that came out, I believe it was last year or 2 years ago, I don't know. And now you have the Sony PlayStation All-Stars Battle Royale. So really, people, if you're going to knock Sony about that, then you gotta knock on those guys too, because it's not fair to bash on them for this and then look the other way when another person does it. I'm just throwing it out there. I can't really be too negative of this, because if it ends up being as fun or more fun than Smash Brothers, I can definitely see myself putting a lot of time and effort into this. Knowing Sony, there'll probably be an online mode, so the online will work better this time around than the previous Smash Brothers game. So that's something good if they can actually nail that down right. And, there wasn't really much information given other than certain characters. The stages are going to be hybrids of two stages, like one stage for one Sony character and one stage for another. Like they had the God of War, the first level of God of War 1, and they had like another stage going on there. So that's something cool, dynamic backgrounds. Yeah, generally if they can nail the core gameplay down, then I'm going to be definitely pleased with this title. I can't really say that I'm so pissed off about it, because if it ends up being fun at the end of the day, then really what else matters for this kind of game? So we're just gonna have to wait and see what else they're going to do. I believe the release date was set for the end of 2012 or around 2012. So we're just gonna have to wait and see how they're going to show it off at E3. I'm going to be intrigued to see how it's going to play. I really hope it doesn't play legit gimmicky and it's like, oh, one attack button and do this, because I want some depth into it. Like how the Smash Brothers games, while they're not traditional fighting games, they still had, it just had you coming back for more. It was a pretty deep system for what they were trying to do, especially considered Melee. Oh my god, Melee, damn. So now that we've covered PlayStation All-Star Battle Royale, let's move on to something that people have been wondering, what are my thoughts on. The Amazing Spider-Man video game coming out in June. As you guys know, when it comes to movie tie-in games, I usually write them off as being nothing but crap because, really, let's be honest, they are nothing but crap. They're not really given full development time. They're just used to cash in on the hype of the movie because the kid sees the movie, he goes into Target or Walmart, oh my god, Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs, the video game, let me get that, and the game is a piece of shit because it was developed in like 2 days. Being an exaggeration, of course. But there was something about like the Amazing Spider-Man, in general, just the Spider-Man games in general. I thought that they were like, top tier movie tie-in games, especially considering Spider-Man 2. Within the time lapse of the Spider-Man 3 to the new reboot, we've seen a couple of other games, like Web of Shadows, Shattered Dimensions, Edge of Time, Friend or Foe, all those other. Beanox is developing this one, and they developed the previous 2 games, Edge of Time and Shattered Dimensions. I played both of them. I rented both of them, so I don't own them, because really I was kind of skeptical on it. But Shattered Dimensions was actually a pretty good game for what they were trying to do. I'm not going to say it was the best Spider-Man game, but for what it was decent. Edge of Time, however, Edge of Time just took what was so good in the first game by Beanox and they just flushed it down the toilet. Honestly, that game should have been like DLC, like a DLC expansion pack. I'm just going to throw it out there right now. It really, really tarnished the entire Spider-Man game franchise name. So when they announced that Beanox would be developing this new one, I was like, oh great, not again. But then again, the development time has been going on since Shattered Dimensions completed, so ooh, interesting. And from what I've seen in the gameplay, they are really listening to the fans. They've brought back open world gameplay, so you're going to be swinging around the city. That's really cool. They say the combat system is going to be very heavily modified, and it's going to be inspired by the Batman Arkham Asylum games. I'll just call them the Batman Arkham games. So we can only guess what that means. It's going to be like the Batman Arkham games. Well, from what I've seen in the trailers, you're really interacting with the environment and using your web shooters, to tie enemies up, and then swinging across and then doing combos from, the air. So that is very interesting to see. There's going to be a ton of side missions, they said, so it'll be great. Let's see some replay value going on. And something really interesting would be the character skins. And according to several reports, Stan Lee will be a skin for Spider-Man in this game. Now, I don't know if that's official or not. If it is official, I'm going to, put an annotation saying that it is. But from the reports I've read, that's freaking awesome. That is definitely going to intrigue people into buying the game. And they're introducing, this is set after the Spider-Man movie, so people won't be spoiled. It comes out like a week before the movie. So they introduced the Rhino and Iguana, which are great side villains. They're not really main villains. They're just something to hold you over for like this little arc. So that's going to be awesome. And apparently, they've actually gotten together with the writers of the movie to write things in the game so that when the sequel to The Amazing Spider-Man comes out, it's not out of place. It could actually feel like it existed in there. So that is awesome. That is definitely a lot of dedication going into a movie tie-in game. Beanox might be trying to change the way they do movie tie-in games to actually give you not just a good movie tie-in game, but a great game in general. So we're just going to have to wait and see. I'll probably be renting the game, and if I like it enough, I will end up buying it when it goes for cheap. Because it looks awesome, just swinging across the city, open world. That's one of the staples of the Spider-Man series. So if they can nail down that front, and if the combat is good, and if this game really does bomb and it's literally all talk, I'm gonna be pretty sad because it looked kind of cool. Anyway, that's all I wanted to talk about in this video, you guys. One final thing before I go, I just want to point it out that I was interviewed by 2 YouTubers. I was interviewed by my very good friend known as Citizen Wolf, James Petford, who's the leader of the AstroIgnition team. So a podcast to that will be somewhere on the screen. It'll be an annotation. And I was also interviewed by SuperKamiGuru9000 Christian. So if you want to check out that separate interview, they're actually pretty different interviews. They both start out with how I got onto YouTube, but they just both divulge into totally different random questions and such. So I think it would be cool if you watch both of them. So annotations to both those videos will appear right here. And I guess that's it. What do you guys think of PlayStation AllStars Battle Royale? What do you think of the Amazing SpiderMan video game? And I guess that's a wrap from me to you for now. I'm NGS signing out. That's Piplup, and I will catch you guys later. Peace.